Hello. Once again I come before you as a representative of the Illuminati. You may call me the man. Yeah, I'm back. Yes, and I'm settling in really well after my long excursion in the outer dimensions. The bloat is much better. I'm starting to fit into my clothes again, which is nice. Yeah, and of course part of being back is doing these little updates for you guys. Obviously, the rest of the guys didn't want to do it, and we can't let Johnson do it because that would be horrible. So anyway, here I am again. And, you know, the number one question I have received since I've been gone is why? The man, why a second Trump administration after the disastrous administration the first go around? And well, there's several answers. Some of them are simple, some of them are quite complicated, and there's some good news attached to them too. So I guess we need to dive into it. Let's go from the most simple to the most complicated. One, of course, is people felt hopeless. That's basically it. And Donald Trump promised them everything was going to be great. On day one, he was going to fix everything. The only reason why the Biden administration couldn't do it is because Joe Biden was old and sleepy. And some of them believed him. Enough of them believed him that they voted for him. And that's basically it. We didn't do it. The American people did. Now, a lot of people did not believe him. More people voted against him than for him. But their vote was divided a little bit, so he got the most votes. He became the president. That's the simple answer. And of course, they're all responding to various global situations. We're just off the pandemic that happened in his administration the first time, crashed the economy. Everything tried to rebuild very quickly, of course, because we didn't want to sit in a bad economy. That caused inflation. Everything was going bad that way, and then suddenly your dollar wasn't worth as much anymore if you still had a job. Yeah, and then the supply lines were slowing down, and then of course the corporations stepped in there and said, this is a great time to raise prices, and they had record profits. But the end result was the average person on the street was in much worse shape than when President Trump took over the first time. So they thought maybe, human memory what it is, maybe he can do a better job than some unknown vice president. And they went with Donald Trump. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's economic. The complicated answer is it's kind of human nature, and it's exactly what we're trying to help correct, help grow out of, okay? Human nature is human nature, and it has served us well. We are the dominant species on this planet, and we've ruled this planet. We could destroy this planet if we wanted to, but we're not to maturity yet. And that's what the Illuminati is all about. We are trying to bring humanity to the place where it is destined to be, amongst the stars, amongst all of our brothers and sisters, amongst the stars, the races that already are interstellar and intergalactic. I mean, yes, there are intergalactic races. Intergalactic, wrap your brain around that. You know how much distance is. You know what? I'm getting off track. So anyway, that's our purpose. And the thing is, they don't want us there yet. They think that we are too immature. That's why we have all the disclosure stuff. Remember the previous videos? It's just like 2 weeks ago or something like that. Yeah, they want us to grow up, basically. And part of that, of course, is occasionally we are tested. Not necessarily by them. I think there's a little bit of that, I think, that's been worked. We are not the only organization trying to influence human beings. Let's just put it that way. We're trying to influence human beings so we kind of all grow up. There are other organizations that are like, we're fine, and maybe we should go backwards a little bit. So we're not exactly sure 100% where they all get their money and support, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so what happened, of course, is, you know, all that stuff happened. We were tested. The alien races wanted to see whether or not we would pick someone who literally dyes himself orange, calls people names, and blames immigrants and trans people for everything that's wrong in the world. Or someone who was untested. and we picked the orange guy, and that's kind of what happened. But you know, it's not all bad. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. We all know it's bad, and a lot of people are learning that it's bad, because sometimes the test is in itself the lesson. But as things do not continue to get better, and as every promise that President Trump made has been broken, people are starting to come around a little bit, I think, and hopefully the test, like I said, becomes the lesson, and we all learn, and we don't fall for it again. But we're going to need to be tested again, because we didn't exactly pass this time. So, but like I said, there is good news. There's a little bit. You know how when you're boiling water on a stove or on a fire, I don't know, you may not have a stove, but you're boiling water, and you have a lid on it. And you know what happens, of course, if it gets too hot and the water boils, it pushes the lid off and it runs over onto the stove or into the fire, causes a big mess. Well, sometimes you got to take that pressure off. Okay, you got to let that pressure out, and that's kind of what's happening now. Human nature is, in fact, pressurized. We have the innate desire to do what we want, and of course that's fine. That's actually served us quite well. That's why we are the dominant species on this planet. But the alien races don't want us continuing to do that once we get out there, you know, because they are already out there, and they don't want us going, hey, that's a cool planet you got, I want it. So when we can show that we can live in peace, or that we can seek a common good, and that's our impulse instead of the, oh, I just want what's good for me. When the majority of us do that, then we are more likely, of course, to advance, and that's what they mean by maturity. But sometimes you just got to get that, I want mine out, you know, you just got to get that impulse out, and then consequences will happen. And then you go, oh, well, maybe I don't want that. Maybe I actually do want something that's good for other people and me. I mean, that's kind of the deal, right? You got to find that sweet spot, because some people go great for the other people, but they don't really take care of themselves. And then some people take care of only themselves, and they're not very good for the other people. But somewhere in the middle, that's the sweet spot. That is maturity. And we are seeing on a larger scale that once most of us acted on that impulse to get it for me, they are learning that, well, maybe not just for me, maybe for my neighbor and me, because going just for me kind of messed things up a little bit. So that's a good thing. That means that some of the pressure is starting to release, and we're growing. We're growing as a world. I mean, the other nations are having to step in where the United States left such a big shadow, and they were going to have to anyway if we were ever going to rise as a global species to the stars. So yeah, that's good. There's a lot of bad that went with that. There's a whole lot of bad, and I'm not here to say, oh, yeah, that was worth it. It's not. It's not worth it. I particularly would love it if we all just learned the lessons from history, so we don't have to keep repeating the history. But unfortunately, that's not how we have learned things up until now. So we're riding it out. That's basically it. And we're hoping that people pay attention and they are learning these lessons, and we won't have to repeat this particular lesson again. We will pass the next test. And according to the really big computer, there's like a 3% less chance of a nuclear Armageddon than there was before he was elected. You know, as part of that pressure being released. You know, we were like, oh yeah, maybe we would drop the bomb on somebody. No. Now we're more like, oh, I just hope I can, you know, buy bread next week. In some places, it's just that bad. And so, yeah, it's not a great lesson, and I'm hoping that we all learn it. But that's it. That's the answer. It's complicated and it's simple. It's just basically a response to some really, really bad times that humanity went through. And bad times bring out the character of every nation. The impulse to withdraw and just grab what you want, and the impulse to help and reach outward to help, they will always be in tension. And we've known that for many, many years. It's just another lesson that this generation has to work out for itself. We don't control things overtly. We've had this discussion. Covertly, subtle messages. Sometimes the subtlety is lost, and we make bad decisions. But it would be a lot worse if we just tried to dominate everything and control everything. Trust me, nobody needs that kind of power. We all kind of need to work together. And to that end, we in the Illuminati would like to appreciate you watching this. Let me just change this a little bit. I say this all the time, and it's my little outro and stuff, and people are used to it. Branding is what Laney called it. Well, let's just change it a little bit, okay? We in the Illuminati would like to invite you to be part of the lesson. We're learning too. That's the great thing about this, because we're human too. We're exceptionally long-lived. There's a complete bloodline. We're not getting new members, no, but we are still human, just like you guys are. And we're just making our way through the world, just like you guys are. But we're reaching for that goal, where the world is a more kind and gentle place in which to live. And I'm falling back into the outro, but it's true. So to that end, we in the Illuminati would invite you that when you walk outside your house, or your hut, or your tent, or wherever you happen to find yourself, your apartment, you look up there in the sky, and you see those chemtrails blazing up there. Why, we in the Illuminati would just suggest that you relax and breathe deeply.